So one other very spooky game that I've played recently, spooky, is A Dead of Winter, The Long Night. This is designed... No? Just kidding. This is designed... This is designed by Jonathan Gilmour and Isaac Vega, with the artists, multiple artists here, Joshua Pinello, David Richards, Fernando Suarez, Peter Woken, ya boy.
My boy.
And a Gunship Revolution. Now, something interesting about Gunship Revolution is they're like a collection of artists. I would highly recommend looking them up online. They've done a ton of stuff, and their artwork is fantastic. Like a surprising amount of stuff that you've probably seen. If you're into board games, you've probably seen a lot of their work without really knowing it. Gunship Revolution, check them out. Anyway, published by Plaid Hat Games. Dead of Winter has a great history with me. The first one, I played it a ton. Essentially, and this is a standalone sequel, but it's essentially the same game with some added modules on top of it. But essentially what you're doing is, this game is you are a collector, you are a collection of survivors after a zombie apocalypse. Thank you. And you're trying to all survive, but everyone has their own objective and their own secret objective, and there is also a betrayer potentially. And so what's fun is that your secret objectives make everyone seem like the potential betrayer, but there could be one betrayer to rule them all. That was a stupid phrase. Wait, thank you. On your turn, when it's set up, there's your camp, and your camp has a bunch of spots, and zombies can come into your camp. Or also outside of your camp are different locations. There's about 6 or 7 locations, like a school, a police station, a grocery store, gas station, hospital, library, other things. Maybe I named them all. I don't know. That'd be pretty impressive. It's not in front of me.
That was a good. I think you did a good job. Yeah.
I think you did a good job. And so as you're traveling out to those locations to search those decks, and in those decks you'll find items, you'll find guns, you'll find food. Every round you have to feed everyone that is at the base. No, just everyone. Or is it the base? Anyway, you have to feed people. You have to make sure your camp is clean. You have your morale track and your round track. If morale ever gets down to 0, you lose. And there's multiple ways to get morale down to 0. If your camp is too dirty. If someone dies, it goes down, which makes a lot of sense. And there's just a lot of things going on at once. Now, the way that you can try and tell if people are betrayers or not, every round there's also like an objective everyone has to fulfill, and mostly it's like for every tool card you submit, it goes towards that objective, but anything other than a tool card could take it down. And it's not always tool cards. It could be medicine, it could be books, things like that. But people are playing these cards face down. So at the end of each round, those get shuffled up and they get revealed. And so you can see, if they're all cards that benefit you, that's great. But there could be some that don't benefit you. So you have a traitor and you're trying to figure out who it is. And it's a ton of fun. In The Long Night, the sequel, there are a bunch of modules you can add in. We unfortunately didn't add any, which I think was a mistake. It's been a while since I played the game, but that kind of, I feel like, would make it fresh again. Raxon comes in, the corporation behind everything, kind of, there's a module about that. There's people, there's like robbers who you have to keep out of your camp, and just a ton of other things. Now, this game can be fantastic. Games last about 90 minutes to 2.5 hours, depending on what length of game you choose. Overall, there's an overall objective that you're trying to do, and there's cards that give you different scenarios that tell you what they do. We were playing one where we just had to get a certain amount of medicine, I believe. And so all of us had to go out and search for medicine and bring it back. Every time you travel or fight a zombie, you have to roll an exposure die, which could give you a wound, it could give you frostbite, or it could just outright kill you, which means you got bit. And that's always a funny thing, because you'll just move trying to do something easy and you're dead. But it's you died. It's possible to get other survivors though. Everything's done through an action dice, so all the actions you can do, like moving or searching or fighting or everything like that, there's a numerical value you have to assign to that, and that's where the dice come in. to do those actions. This game that we played, however, by default, when you set up, there are 2 non-betrayer cards for every player playing, and then just 1 betrayer. So we played, originally it was supposed to be a 5-player game. We ended up playing a 4-player game. So we had 8 normal cards and 1 betrayer card. So the odds of actually having a betrayer were slim. And we ended up not having one, so we flew through the game. It was basically just a co-op game, and there was no suspense. It was too easy, and it kind of died. I felt so bad because everyone was super excited to play it. There's a variant where you just cut that in half. It's just 1 normal card per player and a betrayer, so the odds are significantly increased. It's not 100% guaranteed that you'll get a betrayer, but the chances are high, and those are the games that are really fantastic. I was just a bit bummed that this session kind of fell flat for us. I want to play it again soon with those same people because they could see the potential. Now I still end up losing because I was the only one who didn't get his secret objective fulfilled, but everyone else did. So I mean, I guess it wasn't that exciting.
You suck.
I sucked. But this game has so much potential, but I guess it can have a dud game every once in a while, like this. So you have experience with this game?
Absolutely. Yeah, Dead of Winter was kind of like the big game coming into my whole board game obsession in terms of there being like, you're telling me that this game allows me to be secret about what I'm actually trying to accomplish, and it's story driven. It was like checking every single box out, checking every box for me.
Yeah.
So to rewind here a little bit, you said that you played with how many betrayer cards and how many just regular survivor cards?
Yeah, and so by default, it's 2 survivor cards per player, and then you just throw in 1 betrayer card into all that.
See, I was thinking like you would have, you'd have like survivor cards equal to the amount of players plus 1 betrayer, or however it would be. So that way it at least kind of, because that is the majority of fun for me, is being able to be like getting my card and then I'm immediately being like, you're a betrayer, you son of and just immediately start just throwing accusations, because that is like, to me, that is like the most favorite part of that board game, is being able to poop talk everybody.
And it's possible to exile people. You can vote to exile people, and if they're exiled, they can't go in the camp, and they're just stuck out in the locations. But then they can like take pot shots into the camp and stuff like that. Yeah. It's just fun. It's great. It's a great game. It's possible to combine both Dead of Winter and The Long Night into one giant game with another expansion called The Warring Colonies. Yep. I was very excited for it, but I heard it just takes forever, and you need a lot of people who already know how to play. Yep. And I don't think I'll ever get into that situation, but that does sound like a lot of fun as well. Yep. This is up there with it. It's potentially my favorite zombie genre game, with a close second being City of Horror. City of Horror is fantastic, and then Zombicide in third. And I do love Zombicide for what it is, but that's just a straight up just shoot zombies, run around and shoot them. But this game, I like the intrigue of this one.
Yeah. So Dead of Winter is, interestingly enough, a zombie game that isn't about zombies, which is really weird saying that, but like zombies play such a secondary role in this game, in that there isn't anything too complicated about zombies, where it's just like, if you want to shoot one, it's dead. You might get bitten, but they're dead. Like it's so simple and easy to get rid of them. It's all about whether or not you can trust anyone around the table at that time. And and that really sucks, right? In terms of having a game fall flat like that, where you all kind of know that you're all working together. Even if that were the case, I think just one person has just got to be like, just telling everybody they don't trust them.
Exactly.
You you gotta do it. I think it's obnoxious, but it's funny as heck.
There wasn't anything that anyone was doing to create any sort of suspicion at all, because no one had to. Everyone's secret objectives were pretty easy to fulfill. They just had to have like certain amount of guns or this amount of medicine, and no one was getting hurt, so we didn't have to need medicine. Anyway, it's fine. It's a great game. It's not like it like hurt the game for me. I just feel bad that I had friends come over and they took time away from their families to come play this game that just kind of fell flat.
No. 2 small things. One.
Yeah.
Hey, remember when Isaac Vega was a guest on the show?
Oh man, that was so good.
Was awesome.
Head back there.
Yeah, head back
episode
to
8.
I was gonna say 8. I think it was 8 or 9.
It was around there.
It was around there.
Hey, it's on Spotify though. If you're interested,
we're on Spotify, everybody. No, so okay. I don't know if we actually said this in the episode, but Isaac hung out a little bit after we got done recording, and we talked about Dead of Winter a little bit. Do you remember this at all?
Nope.
Okay. I'm pretty confident you were around.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah. But anyways, so Crossroads is like the biggest mechanic to come out of Dead of Winter.
Yes.
And so and again, Crossroads being that whenever the player to your right draws a Crossroads card, and if at any point during your turn you activate whatever's on the Crossroad card in italics, you have to read out this kind of story thing. And one thing that I found really interesting was that in the development of Den of Winter, when Isaac was playtesting this game, they were like playtesting it, and he felt that something was missing and they just couldn't nail it down. So like Isaac left, and I think he like went up in the bathroom and just like sketched out the idea.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he sketched this idea for the Crossroad cards. He comes back downstairs and he's like, what do you think? He comes downstairs and he's like, okay, when this person does this, read this. And that was like the beginning of like this not like life-changing, but this game-changing mechanic that is now like its own huge mechanism in board games now, after like a doodle in the bathroom, right? Like how funny is that?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And as well, I want to make mention that for this game, when I was playing Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition with the developer, which I'll talk about in a little bit more detail in the next segment, the designer Kara Sintel Dunk said that in Horrific Journeys, which is the new expansion that's coming out, the scenario that we played have it's not ambush cards or traitor cards, it's an agenda card. And they said that during the development, that as they were creating this whole thing, that they referred to it as a working title of the Den of Winter scenario, which is just a nice little homage to Isaac and John in terms of their work, I think, having this lasting stamp onto the board game community about what they've created. Rightly so, a top 100 game. I haven't played it recently, but I would love to play it soon. So
yeah, it's a great game. I'd recommend pulling it out again. And if you haven't played it, do check it out. A great game with zombies that focuses on the meta rather than the zombies. And I love that. That is Dead of Winter, The Long Night by Plaidhead Games.
One quick thing.
Yes.
And it's kind of on Dead of Winter, but I really, really wish that there was some sort of agenda card a la Dead of Winter in Discover.
Like a Crossroads card, you mean?
Not Crossroad cards. I mean, you have your own agenda waking up with other survivors around you. In Discover.
Yeah.
Like maybe you want to, in the same way that like you have to maybe get all of the gas and you want to like leave, your encampment in Dead of Winter. I wish there was something. Like, I hope there will be an expansion in Discover that offers that same type of mechanic in Discover, because I think that would up the excitement level in that game for me. Being able to not know what your like, in the same way, if like you were to wake up and you don't know somebody and you're like, what are their intentions? Like, are they wanting to work together as a team, or do they have something more devious in mind? In like maybe wanting to collect sticks, and maybe like they're actually building things behind your back that they don't want you to know, that changes the end game around. I think that'd be super cool. And that's kind of what I thought about coming after my initial plays of Discover, was like, I just really wish there was something I could keep secret from everybody. Yes. That's like what I wanted. That's what I would really love to have happen.
It'd be fun if they had expansions come out for Discover that also were completely different from each. Like each expansion is different, right? Not like a completely different expansion, but the items, the tokens, or like the agenda cards, let's say, or something like that, are different in each expansion box, which I think could be fun as well.
Indeed.